less than a millimeter through the firing sequence, through the actual movement of the sear down is less than 1 millimeter. And we're gonna see if it'll set the cartridge off. I don't know, we'll try it a couple times. It might not, this safety might be working, but the other safeties might not have been, so let's see.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for continuing to support the channel. This wasn't my first idea for a video today. I had another one lined up, but I felt like this was very important given all of the Sig Sauer P320 controversy. All right, now I don't have a P320, but I do have the P365 XL, you know, EPS carry green on top, 6 MOA. I had a few more too, but that boating accident was so long ago, I don't really remember them. A few years ago, Sig Sauer was able to beat out companies like Glock and Beretta for the military contracts. So they have the P320 M17 and M18 variants, and then you have the civilian P320, which comes in a plethora of flavors, sizes, different packages and stuff. Shortly after securing the government contracts, there were videos and owners' testimonies about the firearms allegedly going off on their own. This is not a gun channel, okay? So I may get some things wrong, so you guys can let me know in the comment section. I know we got some operators and some LARPers and all that. Y'all know a lot more than me, but to me, the 365 shares a lot of external appearances as the 320, okay? There's no trigger safety or anything like that. There's no external safety on my particular model, you know? So I worry if this firearm could do the same thing that the 320s have been doing. I've called to Sig Sauer. I've actually sent this same one into Sig Sauer and they replaced my my trigger bar and I believe that there's a spring in there too. That was about at 700 rounds through this firearm. And shout out to Sig, because they do have good customer service. And by all of the reviews that I've read, the 365 and 320 have two completely different type of actions to them. But my problem comes in where the company is constantly denying what's going on. Okay, they've been denying it for the longest, even though police officers and other trained individuals have been hurt by this weapon, particularly, and all of this is alleged, okay? All of these firearms going off is alleged, but particularly when these firearms are in some of these holsters. But Sig has been continuing to deny that this is a problem, that it's possibly a designer's flaw. And I don't even know how they got the contract with the military and all of these police agencies, FBI, etc., and if they haven't been extensively tested. Recently, the allegations of the P320s going off on their own have resurfaced again because there was allegedly an airman whose M18 or M17 was holstered. He puts it down on the table. The airman's holstered weapon allegedly fired a round into his chest. You know, rest in peace to him. Prayers and condolences for his family. But again, here we go with the Sig P320 drama. If you continue to carry your Sig P320 and keeping it in service, I would say just be careful. Maybe don't carry around in the chamber, because there are still people that are defending the Sig P320. They're saying that they're going to carry it and there's nothing wrong with it. It's all users. So to them, I would just say, please be careful. Carry it in a good holster. Maybe not one in the chamber. Maybe with the safety on. Because you're not going to be able to convince everyone. Some people are going to say they still don't believe what's happening. It's all AI. Wyoming Gun Project recently released a video that has gone viral where he has partially depressed the trigger of the Sig P320, and he was able to get the gun to fire primers without the trigger having to be additionally pulled to the rear. He simply manipulates the slide, and there it is. The firearm goes off. This video has since taken off online, getting almost 1 million views in less than a week. But this is nothing new. This is just the newest iteration of it. People have been doing these drop tests, because remember when the P320 originally came out, there were drops. If you dropped it at the right angle, you could get it to fire the same way. I'm not sure if we could say that these are completely unintentional firings of the weapon, because along with Wyoming Gun Project, they have something in that trigger, pushing it, beginning to push it. So I don't know if we could put all the fault on Sig, especially when the YouTuber Trigger Smart recently posted a video where they were able to reenact the same thing, the same cycling of the weapon. Once you start pulling the trigger to the rear, they were able to get it on some of the most popular striker firearms right now. I hear they have the Echelon right here, and it's gonna fire, okay? If you get a chance, go check out the video for yourself. This is the title of it. These guns went off without pulling the trigger by Trigger Smart. Okay, here's the XDM. And again, they're gonna get it to go off. Okay, this is gonna be the Hellcat. Again, they're gonna get it to go off. There it is right there going off. Okay, so if you get a chance, go watch it for yourself. They're going to get pretty much every single striker-fired firearm that they tested. Okay, they're going to pull the trigger to the rear, and all of them go off. So I'm not sure if we can call this that exact problem with the Sig P320. Now, other people are speculating it could be the sear. It could be one of the safeties. There are just so many different theories out there. And when you have Sig Sauer refusing to admit that they even have a problem, it's just going to bring more speculation. More people are doing tests, trying to figure out what's exactly causing these firearms to go off, especially a firearm that has been allowed, signed contracts to serve our military and serve police forces around the country. You have people potentially getting hurt or afraid of being hurt by a weapon that they didn't necessarily choose to carry. If the police or the military say, hey, this is what the department is using, this is what our branch is using or whatever, you have to use it. It's crazy that they're being forced to use a weapon that is literally a ticking time bomb. And the memes have been going crazy with this one, but this was one of the funnier ones I saw. All right, they got the U.S. military looking for a new service pistol to replace the P320. Then you have down here the M1911. All right, for those who don't know, the M1911 Beretta was the sidearm of the military before being replaced by the M17 and M18. Regardless of what people have said, regardless of whatever testing has been done to the firearm, over here we can see the P320, this is from Sig, the P320 cannot under any circumstances discharge without the trigger first being moved to the rear. This has been verified through exhaustive testing by Sig Sauer engineers, the U.S. military, several major federal and state law enforcement agencies, and independent laboratories. As with any gun, the P320 will discharge if the trigger is pulled to the rear. Accordingly, Sig Sauer continues to remind its customers, employees, and public to employ all safe firearm handling practices as spelled out in detail in our product's manual. So, essentially, Sig is still continuing to deny that anything that has been alleged as far as these P320s going off, that it's simply not true. They've had enough people test it and clear this firearm that whatever is happening, because remember that they had the recall, the voluntary recall, or the voluntary upgrade or something like that. They didn't call it a recall. They called it a voluntary upgrade, and they never really admitted that there was anything wrong with the firearm. I think that this is one of the scariest things. Okay, now all of this is alleged, and I'm not saying I want Sig to be sued into oblivion to where they cannot operate, but I think it's a big slap in the face to your consumers when you deny a problem that is kind of undeniable at this point. You have a lot of people retiring their Sig P320s, trading them, selling them just to get rid of them because they understand the old adage probably isn't true. You know, guns don't kill people, people kill people. I saw this in a meme also, unless it's a Sig P320. Then that's just a ticking time bomb. Sig needs to come out and address the issue and try to figure out a solution. They need to come forth to the public and just be upcoming, because what they're doing right now is not a good PR move. A lot of people are moving away from SIGs. A lot of people say that they're moving back to their Glocks, their Springfield Armories, their whatever brand it is that they use, and moving away from SIG. And it's not just the P320. People say the line as a whole, because if SIG is going to continuously deny what's going on, you know, they're getting sued and they're paying out, and allegedly, I'm not 100% confirmed on this, okay? But if you're paying out instead of having to go to trial so that you don't have to publicly admit anything, some of their older German pistols are still staples. But some of these newer ones, because even the P365 in the beginning, the first batch, there was a rust problem, which mine has rust. You know, it's not too bad. They didn't have rear sights. Mine doesn't have rear sights. Okay, if I pull this off, it's just nothing back there. So there were flaws that needed to be worked out. There were complaints on the 365s of it getting dead triggers. The P320, we know the issues with that one, but even the earlier batches had problems. I mean, how much more can SIG fanboys defend what's going on? And I like SIG. Okay, I had a few SIG pistols before the boating accident, but is how they've been handling things with this issue something that you could excuse them for? In closing, shout out to Wyoming Gun Project and for bringing this issue forward. But after seeing Tactical Shooter, I believe his name is, and his experiment pretty much doing the same thing with a bunch of striker-fired handguns, I'm not sure if I'm willing to say that that's the specific issue with the Sig P320. But there is some issue that SIG needs to address. And SIG needs to take ownership for this. Because there's no way that all of these firearms are going off and it's all a SIG P320. It's not a Glock 19. It's not a Walther PDP. It's not a Springfield Armory Hellcat or XDM or anything like that. They're all the SIG P320s. This shows to me that there is a clear issue, and for SIG to just, you know, brush everything off. No, guys, you're doing the wrong experiment. You guys aren't doing it the right way. We have the best engineers in the world. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that these are user error? People are putting their fingers in the trigger guard and causing the firearms to go off, or when they're holstering it, they're not watching it into the holster carefully. There could be something that got into that holster and into that trigger guard, and that's what's causing them to go off. These firearms were tested above and beyond usual tolerances because that's the only way that they got these military contracts. That's the only way so many government agencies are arming their employees with the Sig P320. It's hands down the best striker-fired handgun on the market. Or do you think there is something going on with these SIGs? No, we haven't figured it out yet. We're going to need an unbiased engineer to really figure out what's going on. People are speculating a lot online, and they're going to continue to speculate, in my opinion, until SIG comes forward and admits to whatever they know or have known. And I agree with that to a degree. I have kids. I cannot risk a firearm that is supposed to have all of these safeties, you know, a modern pistol going off. I cannot risk something like that. But that's all I really got to say on it. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate your time. Let me know whatever your thoughts are in the comment section. Till the next video, y'all, especially Sig P320 users, please be safe.